Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Callum McGregor spoke to the media, the Scottish media yesterday, and as expected they threw in curveballs like, what do you think about this and what do you think about that and what do you think about Sevco and takeovers and who gives a flying, but Callum McGregor did answer them. Once we've spoke about that, we're going to talk about the Green Brigade having responded to Celtic's statement yesterday. But first of all, we'll talk about Callum McGregor. And Callum McGregor at the media conference yesterday was pretty ruthless when he was asked by the Scottish media, as you would expect. He was asked about the incoming takeover, potential takeover. Who gives the toss? Who really gives the toss? I don't. As long as we keep on doing what we do and win things, it's as simple as that. But Callum McGregor said, of course, when you win trophies, I think the aim is straight away is, can we defend them? Can we keep them all here? That is the mindset of ours. We want to keep it. It's our city. It's our trophies. We are the ones who are potentially going on to win another treble. Yes, it'll be 6 trebles in 9 years. And on the 55th title, which I know better way to do, get the double done and dusted first of all this weekend and then move on to the Scottish Cup final where we take on Aberdeen at the final game of the season. And it's always fantastic to go into the final game of the season at Hampden in the Scottish Cup, and even better when we do win it. But Callum McGregor said, of course, we'll see what happens across the road in the summer. We try not to take too much notice, but of course, if there is investment, well, maybe they'll level something up at the club. Bitch slapped. Callum McGregor bitch slapped him, says that maybe they will level things up. And he said if they level things up, well, we'll just level things up as well. We'll take Celtic to the next level. We have to react and we have to keep pushing our level, said Callum McGregor. I think it's been good over a long period of time. Anyways, we've found ourselves under pressure. We've managed to deliver. We've managed to stay in front. Managers have came. Managers have gone. Players have came. Players have gone from that other team. You gotta love it, don't you? And the fact is, they'll probably come in with another new manager and they've got some cash, and we've seen it all before. We have seen it all before with that lot. It might not be the same Rangers, but it's the same old story every summer. Callum McGregor went on to say, you set a standard at the start of the season and you want to win every game. You want to win the league. That's what we've been doing. It doesn't matter where anyone else is. We have to strive to make our game model the best it can be. We have to recruit the best. We can do it. And then there's 10, 11 months of the season. We have to bring the best version of ourselves every single day. That's not only captain talk. That's potential managerial talk of the future. That's a man, that's a player. That is a player who knows how to motivate players. That's a player that when he does retire from football, will be able to follow in the footsteps of hopefully Scott Brown and go into football management. And he is one person. And I think, Paul Lambert went into football management and didn't have the best career. But I just got a funny feeling that Calmac will be back as Celtic manager one day. It's always a Celtic captain that comes back as manager. I think the only one that there's been a few that haven't over the years. Going back to Roy Aitken, he honestly thought that he would come back and be Celtic captain, Celtic manager one day. But I think Calmac has the potential. He does have the potential. But anyway, that's a long time in the future. Callum McGregor then went on to say, if we do that, then probably won't matter what anyone else does. Whoop ass! Celtic have gone up a gear this season and reaching the knockout playoffs in the Champions League. We went unbeaten domestically, but so did Aberdeen the first 6 months of the season. We went unbeaten domestically for a big part of the first half of the season, and it's been a fantastic season when we look back at it. Let's look at the comments of what some of the people were saying about his interview yesterday. Johnny says he does something incredible difficult that's making the game look easy. He's up there with the finest midfielders in the world. I think so. I think that Callum McGregor will not really be... People won't realise how good a Celtic career he's had until he hangs up his boots. He gets a lot of stick from Celtic fans. But he's a legend. We're living through times of legends, which is only when they stop playing football that the fans, the majority of fans, will go, do you know what? He was a cracking player and servant for the club. Footboy says, just a minute. You have to think about everything Callum has been talking about and let it sink in. What a fantastic time to be at Tim. Such a good ambassador for the club, says T-Boy. And what a captain and leader. Cheers, Callum, says Thomas. We appreciate you and Jamesy the now. Don't listen to these media pencil pushers. We know greatness we are witnessing. We know the greatness we are witnessing. What a boy, love him, says Jed. Not only better players, but our better management. And the players speak so much better than that lot. So proud of this club. And a future Bruni and Callum at Celtic be brilliant. Would that be a pairing? I know that Scott Brown does have his number 2 and he's one of his best mates from growing up at Hibs. Just happens to be an ex-Sevconian player. But if Scott Brown was to become a managerial candidate at Celtic one day, would he bring back the likes of Callum McGregor into his coaching staff? That would be fantastic if it did happen. But then maybe Callum wants to go out and do things himself, and I think he will. But Stephen thinks it's going to be a future Bruni and Calmac at Celtic, but I can't see it. Calmac is often underrated until he's out of the game, and then people realise what he does. Again, on what we are missing when he's not playing. He deserves all the success he has and will have. Well, with another 3 seasons to go after this, I think that it'll all be about managing his game time. And he is just such an important player to Celtic, and I have said that many times on this channel, that people can give him stick and say that he goes missing in midfield, but you don't really see. People that are sitting at home don't see what he brings to the game as a whole. And then when he's not playing, people are right. When he's not playing, he you can see how bad we miss him in that midfield. Now, let's move on to the Celtic statement from yesterday and the response from the Green Brigade. 4:51 yesterday afternoon, Celtic put out the statement. Further to our recent communication, we have been engaging with Fairhurst, our independent safety event consultants, to review concerns voiced over the club on events involving Celtic supporters, buses and groups which took place away from Celtic Park on the 16th of March 2025. As we said before, the club is engaging and discussions with Celtic supporters, Celtic associations, Celtic groups and Police Scotland to understand these events. Now, this is the sentence that has annoyed the Green Brigade, and we'll go on to that in a second. I'll just read the full Celtic statement first. These, to understand the events and circumstances in which they took place. To inform this process, we have asked Fairhurst they've asked an outside organisation for the fans to get in touch with them. Celtic are passing the buck with this one, as far as I'm concerned, and they're trying to sweep it under the carpet, if you ask me. And they know that we'll win the title this weekend, and they hope that it'll be all forgotten about in a couple of weeks when we win the treble. That's only my perspective about it, but tell me what you think in the comments. And to inform the process, we have asked Fairhurst to collate and review the feedback on supporter experience received by the club. But there was no experience received by the club. But anyway, Fairhurst has offered the opportunity for others who present to provide feedback on the events. In order for Fairhurst to progress the review, we would like to inform anyone wishing to provide feedback that they should contact Fairhurst by Monday the 28th of April. That's this Monday. It's not giving people a lot of time, is it? Considering that a lot of people may be travelling for the game this weekend. A lot of people will not be near Celtic Park, but it doesn't give people a lot of time. And this can be done with the following email address. And it is one of the worst email addresses I've ever seen. 1630352 feedback@fairhurst.co.uk. Military sounding, isn't it? Anyway, the response from the Green Brigade. In relation, 12 hours ago, the North Curve Celtic Twitter account put out in relation to Celtic's statement regarding the policing operation on Sunday the 16th of March. We would like to clarify that there has been no discussions with Celtic supporters, associations, clubs and groups, contrary to the claim and despite multiple requests to Celtic FC to do so. It's quite important that the club have obviously went to Police Scotland, and let's face facts, that's their first port of call. They would have went to Police Scotland and said, well, why were Celtic supporters kettled before a game, and why weren't they allowed to walk from the Celtic Supporters Club up to Celtic Park? And they will want the reasons for that. And then they will then sit and they'll take that information in. And the fact that they're asking an outside organisation to collate any feedback from the fans, and then that data will then be paraphrased and put in a bracket of responses and presented to the club. Any kind of data like that, can be easily manipulated, and that's my concern. And I think that Celtic fans would expect the club to do better. I know that John Paul Taylor, the Celtic fans liaison officer, was in attendance on the day, and there's plenty of video footage going around of what happened on that day. And I think it's terrible, but it wasn't to be expected considering who we were playing on such day. And it's funny how the Police Scotland come out and said that there was fans with balaclavas on, and even though people took the balaclavas off and put baseball caps on, that wasn't enough to allow them to go to the game. But the Rangers fans walked up to the stadium in full balaclavas and all sorts. And let's just see what happens to the game next weekend. But it doesn't matter, because Celtic will be champions this weekend, and I expect their stadium to pretty much empty, because no matter what happens in the game next weekend, we will be champions again. Yes, Celtic fans, we will be champions again. And that's all we need. That's all we need. You know, the result doesn't really matter next weekend. It's another dead rubber game. Maybe they'll win it, and maybe they'll go, but we beat Celtic 3 times a season, man. They're fucking brilliant, like gun. But anyway, who cares? Up them. Onwards we go. Thank you for watching to this end point of the channel. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Anyway, are you ready for the game tomorrow? The day has finally come that we can become 55 times Scottish champions. Oh, I'm fucking buzzing for it already. Absolutely buzzing for it already. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.